Hello everyone. Basically, as you might have seen in the title, this video is gonna be a short tutorial on how to create better looking, better convincing, and somewhat realistic materials in ambiera Coppercube. Many of you might have been wondering why Coppercube doesn't create much graphics, though it can be used to script games and small model viewers and some kind of 3D stuff much easily using the behaviors and actions section and the easy way of accessing JavaScript. Why can't Coppercube create graphics in a much more convincing way? It always looks like the 90s style. It's because you are using the built-in textures at most, and you should always understand how to tweak textures. After all, it's an OpenGL or some kind like that rendering engine, so you have to understand tweaking textures rather than using, the built-in materials, the built-in what little or edit properties like using materials. Sometimes you need them, but not all of them. And when you are editing all of them, it makes a huge mess which can be hard to recover after. So yeah, it's still running okay. So in this tutorial, I'm gonna try to achieve something like, this. This wasn't created in Coppercube, it was rendered in Blender cycles. So many of you might be thinking, well, what is this stupid gonna do? Create the same output in ambiera Coppercube? No, but I'm gonna create something like this. Yep. I'm gonna publish it. How does it look? It's much faster, right, than the traditional rendering. It's heavily dependent on textures, so you should be creating a lot of textures to go with it. So I'm gonna start creating the whole thing from scratch, not the model. I won't be covering anything about modeling or other stuff related to assembling models. But basically, I sculpted the stuff in Sculptress and then retopologized the stuff in Blender. I have the Blender file here. If you want the project file or the sculpted 3D model, just request and I can arrange for it. Low poly modeling is a hard task, a time consuming task, so I won't be doing a tutorial right now. Anyways, the things that you have to understand while using Blender, I'm considering Blender here because Blender is a powerful tool and it's free, it's open source, all in all goes so good with ambiera Coppercube, and ambiera Coppercube can import .blend files directly into its scenes, and that is fantastic. So what you have to do is that remember to model all your models as separate objects. More simple you make them, more simple is it to manipulate their parameters. So you have basically 3 models, and each 3 models should have 3 different materials. So what I did is that I created dumb materials. See, Coppercube understands materials, but it cannot import materials, but it can import textures. So each material has a dump texture assigned with it. That's kind of funny, but that is the most crucial part. When you create one material for this, add a dump texture. When you create another material for this object, see, you have another material 002, you have yet another texture for each of it. So after you have done that, you're going to import them into ambiera Coppercube. See, create a new 3D app, file, import, static 3D mesh from file, and then what? VSTV. Okay, you have to rotate it a bit along the x-axis, 90 degrees. Delete the default cube, set up a very simple scene like a plane. Okay, then add all the textures you want to add, and then what? Yeah, where is it? Okay, this looks somewhat good. Yeah, somewhat good. Okay, the thing I told you to create dumb materials and dumb textures was that, look, Coppercube imports them. Yeah, Coppercube imports them as dump blank texture files. So all you have to do is to add color or add slots. But to add slots, you should create your own textures, and you need to have any fancy program to do that. You just need to use MS Paint. Yeah, create, open Paint and fill it with the necessary color. If you want gray, just fill in with gray or bluish gray, and save them as PNG or some image formats easy to access. See, I have all those three images here. As a short demonstration, I'm gonna import them into Ambiera Coppercube. So let's do it. Go to desktop, import them one by one, open. Yeah, after you have done that, you have to assign each texture to where it belongs. See, when I assign the red texture, it becomes relevant that it has been added to this visor-like lighting object. And then this one to this, no, this one to this, and then this one to this. But it doesn't make much sense, right? It looks very dull. What you have to do is that you have to add reflections, because every material on the surface of this one very planet reflects light, and very few absorb. All of them absorb them, and physics is a pretty complicated subject, right? Why doesn't this look so good? It's because the built-in texture assigned with Coppercube isn't so good either. So we have to create our own textures. I've already made mine. It's under these resources folder. I can provide that too. So for sharper reflecting objects, you need sharper specular textures. For rubbery textures, you need, rough textures. And for middle ones, you need this type of textures. I have imported 3 different, so I don't think this one needs a reflection because it's a lighting object. So I assign this to this, and this texture to this one. Boom, you have it. See, it's much easier to use this way, and with better lighting, I'm not covering the lighting tutorial here. It's all about materials, right? If you know how to tweak materials like this, you can create wonders in Coppercube. Yeah. And finally, you can I have rendered it. Oh, sorry. As you saw in the start, I have created it completely without any fancy plugins, any other fancy lighting, just 3 lighting. This red one is to simulate this visor-like stuff, and this is to give a lighting effect over here, and this is a must. You see, if this dash lighting is a must. It acts like an ambient occlusion. So thanks for watching, and good luck with your own materials.